Hi everyone and welcome to Tessa, the Art of Life. In today's episode I'm going to show you how to draw a rose, or rather sketch a rose. We are going to use some sketching pencils, but if you don't have any you can use a regular pencil just as well. That is totally fine. I'm going to link this below so you know exactly what I'm using if you prefer to use that. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so, and do hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And do hit that like button if you like this video. So shall we get to it? Alright then, let's go. When I'm starting to sketch this rose, I am beginning with drawing an oval in approximately the size that I want a rose to end up being. Then I make two small C-shapes that almost hook onto each other, and I continue to build up with C-shapes around these two, making the C-shapes a little bit bigger as I go around the center of the rose. Now I make half a S formation on both sides of the rose, and I let them come together in the front to start shaping the rose. And after that I continue with making C-shapes and a bit of a softer M-shapes around, forming the petals. Do you wanna come along with me? There are many different kinds of roses, and this particular rose I wanted to have a bit more sharp edges, not so soft ones. So when I get to the outer edges of the flower, I make a more sharp and pointy leaves. This I do by drawing an M with a triangle shape in the middle of the M shape. Now, when starting to sketch, there's one thing you need to consider, and that's to not push too hard with the pencil. Of course, you can damage the paper, and if you would like to redo a part of it, it's very hard to get rid of those lines. They will be etched down into the paper, and you will see them. So be light on your hand. That's one of my best tips. You can always go over it later again and fill in whatever needs to be filled in. When I feel I'm finished, I go over the rose once again and I add some extra leaves where I feel that there are something missing. Now it's time to start making some shadows and highlights, which is what will make this rose looking more three-dimensional. I start from the center and I try to imagine that the light is flowing from a certain direction where the shadows are created. At the center there are more shadows because the leaves are seated more tightly together, leaving not so much light being let in. And in the beginning I'm making some rough estimations on where I want these shadows to go. And on the outer petals I start to make some bent lines in the shadows to create more of a life in the shadows. Now when I'm done with setting out the shadows, I go in and I use my stump tool and I smudge out graphite into a smoother surface. This makes the shadows softer and all those hard lines disappear. You can also use your finger or a Q-tip to do this. Then I'm using the harder pencil called HB to sharpen the edges a bit. add some more more shadows with the softer pencil, the 4B, this one's called. I use some kneading rubber, which is a form of rubber that you can shape into the exact form that you want to be. This means you can get it really thin and precise and get to those small parts that you wouldn't be able to get with a normal rubber. I use this to enhance the highlights. I also go over the sketch again and I darken the shadows a bit and I smudge. When I feel it's done, I continue to make the stem of the rose and leaves. I sketch them out round about where I want them to be. Just as with the rose, I go in and I start out roughly drawing where I want the shadows to go. I add veins to the leaves. I smudge the shadows. I add some more graphite where there's a need for more depth. Yes, we have furry little ones and they tend to want to be a part of whatever I'm working on. And now to enhance the details of the leaves, I add more shadows and smudge them. I try to take my time with drawing this and get it as detailed as I wish it to be, and I really try to look at the shadows and highlights so I get them right. Now, I don't know if I've told you this, but when I was younger, I didn't know how to sketch a rose, and it kind of terrified me. I thought a rose was very, very complex. At some point, I didn't even want to try. But then I started to learn, I started to experiment, and when you look at a rose, look at it not as this complex thing with all the lines, but as a shape. And if you look at it, a rose is an oval, and when you start from that, and you take it apart, you see that it's mainly built up with these different kinds of form. I'm normally using the C shape, the half S shape, and the M shape. These shapes are easily to draw, and once you get a hang of it, it's not very complicated at all. You just have to take your time with it. So, as with almost everything in life, take one step at a time, take one piece at a time, and eventually you'll get there. And this is the result.
towards the end, I finish off the stem and I sign the picture, of course, as always. Yeah, and if you do make this rose, don't hesitate to tag me. Tag me with Tessa. I'd love to see what you made.
Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. And do hit that like button if you like this video. Ciao Bellas!